Hey, Yama, everybody. Yama, Donny, you there? You made your cuppa yet, my brother?
No, I hadn't made no cuppa yet. But Yama to everyone to come.
Now we got an echo.
Have you? I might take the speaker off then.
Yeah, now we got an echo. It's not
Just hold on, I'll just take the speaker off. Is that better?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah.
So, make yourself comfortable. It's freezing here. We've had really, really hot days, and all of a sudden it's gone temperature.
Yeah, it's really cold up here, sis.
I'll just say good day to everyone. Hey, good day, everyone. We're just having a yarn, me and my brother Donny here, because we felt like it. There's a lot to say at the moment, and hopefully you can say it. So sit back, enjoy, get yourself a cuppa, enjoy the fire, and hope you enjoy our yarn. So what's been happening, my bro? The world's gone crazy, even more crazier. Our people have gone crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about, my brother. The nature. Now, I've always said, listen to the nature. When the nature starts changing, that's when we need to pay attention. Well, guess what, people? The nature is changing, and we need to pay attention.
Yeah. Hold on there. Hold that thought there. I'm just making a cup of tea.
Right. It's tricky to hold because they slip through your fingers if you haven't got a good grasp. I just want to welcome King and Buzz and Joe for jumping in, and I didn't even advertise it because we're just having a sneak yarn. So thank you for coming. Yeah, so the nature's changing. The birds have moved, the fish have moved, the trees are double fruiting again, and double flowering, which is an abundance which always comes before something. So, pay attention. And we know there's interference, outside interference, but in the history of living things, no one has ever conquered Mother Nature. They try.
No one.
But she will always rise up. So yeah, listen to what she's saying at the moment. If there's lots of food, gather and store. That's what she's saying. There's extra food, gather and store. The animals are move to a safe position, and they haven't moved that far either, bro. That's what I realised.
What's that?
The animals haven't moved that far. They've if I could measure the increments, they've moved a couple of increments, but I don't know how to measure that. Like they haven't moved like hundreds and thousands of miles away. They've just moved. I don't know. I don't know how to explain the distance. I'm terrible for that.
Yeah. Best word would be to use all quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah. Hey, I noticed that about our people. Some of us, we're terrible at measurements, like kilometres, miles. I'm terrible. And I've got a friend, if he gets in a car, he gets lost. If he gets out and puts his feet on the ground, he knows exactly where he is. Isn't it funny how then things affect us differently? Like I've got no sense of measurement. If you tell me how far I have to say, what is that from walking from here to there, and tell me that way, then I'll understand it.
Yeah.
But so if I measure the animal's movement in walks, it's a couple of weeks walk from where they ordinarily were. That's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed that something else there, sis, too, that everything's gone really quiet on that spiritual level as well.
Yes, it has. I'm just going to pop up what Buzz said. It has gone very quiet. Spiritually, it's gone quiet. The hairyman's gone quiet. Everything's quiet. And when it's quiet, that's when you pay attention because something's coming, changing.
Yeah.
So Buzz put up here about the fifth dimension. We're starting to perceive the fifth dimension. I don't know about the Mandela effect, but I feel that's more AI. But we are shifting. Yeah, we are in a shift. And I truly believe, because I know from just being spiritual and being able to see, what I see, not everyone else can see. So if people are on a high vibration and they're moving up to another level, they would be able to see things other people couldn't see. That happens in the bush, doesn't it, Donny?
Yeah, it does a lot. You just got to learn how to read it.
Yeah, you can walk into an area and you'll see different to what another sees because you're all hitting that vibration in the area and they're not. Yeah. Talking about nature, I found a clip where this plant in India was moving by itself, and I was talking to my husband last night, and I dreamed a long time ago that a time would come where the trees and all that, you'd actually see them move, not walk around, but, respond and move instead of not by the wind, but by themselves. It's like they become animated. And that's normal, because if you've got vision, you can see them respond and move. Yeah, I was going to tell you a story then. I'm thinking, no, I shouldn't tell that story. Yeah, you can see them respond and move. And if we're moving into a higher vibration, then more and more people will see that response. Don't piss any trees off.
No, I try not to do that.
Yeah, because once they get animated and they can tell you what they're feeling, they'll slap you, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. We done wrong in the bush. They got their own ways of doing that. It's called a widow maker.
Oh, yeah, we got trees here. You can't camp underneath. Yeah, they just drop their limbs.
Yeah.
They called it that because when the settlers came, they camped under them and killed the men. Yeah, and they had to go and tell their wives.
Yeah, that's why I got the nickname, widow makers.
The tree will kill them, yeah. Nature's funny like that. Very versatile. Our mother is.
Yeah.
And people ask me connecting to nature, right? I see them look at one tree and I think they're a collective, like one tree will talk to another. A tree in Australia, I can send a message through a tree in Australia and it'll go all over the world. The trees are that clever, through the roots or through the leaves. When you're talking to a tree, you're actually talking to a whole lot of trees. It's not just that one tree, and you don't actually have to hug that tree physically because it'll be hugging you energetically as you walk towards it.
Here's something that not many people know, that we got the oldest tree in the world.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's called Willamai Pine.
It's called what again?
Willamai Pine.
Oh, the Willamai Pine. Yeah, my neighbour actually got one there. They're so beautiful, them trees. They are so beautiful. Yeah. They're from the prehistoric days, eh?
Yeah, they're millions of years old. And it's only in one little small area.
Yep.
Yeah.
there's places in Australia where you drive and you get little pockets, and they've still got the giant ferns and everything, and you feel like you've gone back into prehistoric times. You know them places, Donny?
Yeah, we got a tree up here. It's only indicative to this area. It's called a Benamir gum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Only grows around this area. Yeah, it's called a Benamir spotted gum.
Wow. Yeah, we don't have them here spotted gums. I haven't heard of a spotted gum.
Yeah.
I suppose something's got to have spots. No, we got a tree. We got a tree here. I told you about it yesterday. It's still survived. It's from the first settlement. So, and it's sitting in someone's front yard. That's the funniest part. You're driving along suburbia, and all of a sudden, in someone's front yard is this humongous tree that's been there for over 200, or God, it would be 300, 400 years old. I think this tree. Right in the middle of suburbia. Yeah, and I don't know if people know that it's that old.
It's like the tree I took you to there. It's about 400 years old.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah. It's definitely out of place where it is. Like it's they call it the Moreton Bay fig.
Yep.
And in theory, it shouldn't be there because it's actually a coastal tree.
I was going to say that because we got them here at the beach, and some of them are massive. They've been there for hundreds of years. But to see one where you live, that bird must have flew a long way, Donny.
And the funny part about them, they only be found around sacred grounds or ceremonial grounds.
So you reckon they planted them in a ceremony?
I think they did.
Or they as the ceremonial area because the bird put it there?
No.
Oh.
Fellas say that happened is ate the fruit and they gunned it out when they were there at the ceremony.
Yeah, got you. They walked all that way.
Yeah.
You blinked out for a second.
Only thing stayed in your body for 12 hours. How the heck?
Oh,
yeah.
The fruit might have been a trade item.
Yeah, it could be a trade item or it could be a ceremonial item too.
G'day, Rotman. How you doing, bro? Nice to have everyone here. Like I said, I didn't advertise it. I just jumped on with my brother because we need every yarn.
Yeah, a bit of a yarn there.
I wonder how many trees have been cut down that were planted like that, Donny, and they didn't know as the settlers come through and cleared the land to build. They just cut the trees down, not knowing that some of them trees were planted ceremonially.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them got cut down because one of the, if you took up a block of land, one of the things was to clear it back in them days. And a lot of trees got destroyed due to their settlers.
Yeah. Still get a bit peeved about that. Pissed off platypus. I'll try it. People don't understand, like, we do the best we can, but when we hear stuff like that, you can't help it, feel a bit jilted. I feel ripped off. That's all right. We can always plant more trees for the future.
So that means a lot of modified trees were cut down as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what would happen to someone if they cut one of them trees down, not knowing?
It could be, for want of a better word, a curse put on them.
Yeah, I thought that not good things would happen to them. Even if they didn't understand the culture and did it, still take place somehow.
Now, I also heard stories. It could be that curse can be generational as well.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Hey, do you
Yeah.
think what happens if a settler cut down a special tree that had a spirit in it and they built their house? Wouldn't their house be instantly haunted? Wouldn't that
Yeah,
spirit
yeah,
want their house straight away from the wood that they made it with?
yeah. Well, that would have been transferred on, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like,
No.
I've never actually sat down and thought about the transfer system, right, from the settlers' days. And I've just realised that, oh shit, if they cut down a special tree and they build a house out of it, that spirit will be in that house and they wouldn't even know.
Yeah, even if they destroyed a site, my opinion on that subject is that them spirits, the sentinels and the spirit, the spirits of that site, still always going to be there.
Yeah, they will. They will. You
Yeah.
can't move them on because you've got no right to move them on.
Yeah. They're there for a reason. That's why they should be there.
Yeah, that's the other thing with really old spirits like that. They were here way before the settlers come and that, and they shouldn't be moved. Like spiritual people come in and go, get rid of that spirit. Well, not all of them can be get rid of. Some of them were there
No.
that long. You have to have lots of respect for them because they've got a job to do and they'll stay there doing it. And I've been into people's houses where the houses are built on these areas, and they've come and said, there's like activity in my house, can you come and have a look? I've walked straight in the house and laughed and gone, oh, you'll never get rid of that. And they're gone, why? I said, because it's in the land. They were here first. And if you don't like it, move. That's the only. And then someone else moves in the house and you have the same problem all over again.
This is why we keep trying to tell people there's places that you should or should not go to. And sometimes it's just hard to get across to people, especially in this modern society. Like, and you got what they call, quote, non-believers.
Yeah.
And they just don't understand. Like, if there's a spirit there, that spirit's going to be there on that ground, regardless what you've done. You could bulldoze it. You can push all the dirt away from it. That spirit's going to be still in that ground.
Not all spirits are bad. All right, so Donny, in Christian belief, all spirits are demons. In our belief, that's not true, is it?
No, they just, to me, for want of a better word, they got different agendas. Right, you have like a sentinel, which is the one that looks after the place. You might have one that's been killed there. And then you got ones that they're deliberately put there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes the ones that are deliberately put there can be bad, but they're not bad in they're evil. It's bad because they're there to protect something, so they do things to protect the place, which we consider bad. Because they'll make you sick, they'll make you fall over, they'll make you do all sorts of things to keep you out of that area. They're not a bad spirit, they're just doing their job. And you know what, I just realised, bro, and us as caretakers of the world, our country, we should have done that. We should have said we're caretakers and we're not evil, but you're doing the wrong thing, so we have to get rid of you.
Yeah, no.
But
there is that sites, like you got massacre sites like all over Australia.
Yeah, they're things we never thought we'd have to deal with.
Yeah. But they're going to be constantly in torment because they're reacting that over and over again like a crack record. And it just keeps jumping back to it all the time. And sometimes you just cannot, cleanse that area because of that, all that depth, and just in one go.
And sometimes you have to wait for the right person to come along to cleanse it, and that's not a common thing. And sometimes you need lots of people.
Yeah.
Most of the time, most of the places here in Australia that are like that, like massacre places, the boarding school places, or all the places, right? You need lots of men and women to clear it because there's so much there. It's manifested its own reality, that spirit's there.
Yeah.
Hey?
$2 coin. You know your $2 coin.
Yeah.
You know the gentleman is on the back of it, or on the front of it, which way you want to say it.
Shame I
I
don't
can't.
know.
Yeah. He was actually.
I might have a $2 coin here. Hang on. I'll go fishing. I'll tell you, he's on the $2 coin. I don't pay much attention because it's just money, you know. What have we got? $2 coin. Oh no, that one's got a picture on it. Hang on. I think they make them small enough. Oh yeah. I'll hold it up for our viewers. Hang on. Put the camera on. Look out, you're going to see my face. I'll hold it up for you. It's really small. These are our $2 coins. Look how tiny they are.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up as close as I can. No, it's not showing. Let's see if we can get this to show. I should just pull up $2 coin, but I'm in computer lazy mode because I'm a lazy YouTuber. Yeah.
So that gentleman there, he was the only survivor of a massacre.
It's a bit fuzzy. Yeah, it's fuzzy, man. I can't get on. Hang on.
Yeah.
I might be able to pull up a $2 coin.
That's what I was told.
I don't want to pull up a $2 coin. I'm not going to pull up a $2. There's a $2 coin. Sorry that it was blurry. It's got Aboriginal man on it. I'll try and show you again. You can't really see it. It's too small and too blurry. Sorry, folks. Yeah, he was the only survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad, eh?
Yeah. And if you look up on Google, or is it Wikipedia, whatever they call it, all massacre sites in Australia, you find out there's bloody thousands of them.
Well, that's something I haven't looked up, Donny. It's not like a happy thing to look up, you know. I've actually been to one by accident. I went to one by accident, right? And accidentally means that we were all going somewhere and I had no idea I was going there. This is when I was younger and had little kids. So we're in Queensland and we're out in the rainforest and we got told there was a big festival thing on and we were going to a house before we went to the festival thing because they were all going too. Sounds all innocent and good? Yeah, okay. So we're driving along. All of a sudden, my body blew up like it was full of water and I was in agony, man. I felt like I had two holes in my body. I was puffed up like a big balloon. My body was aching. All I was doing, I just felt this immense sadness and kept crying and kept saying to everyone, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, I said, where were we going? They said, we're going to so-and-so's house. But that wasn't the answer that I asked. I knew we were going to so-and-so's house, but where are we, as in what land are we on, what country are we in? No one knew because they were all white fellas, right? I was the only Aboriginal person there. So anyway, cut a long story short, we arrived at this place and I goes inside and the people there were really nice. They saw that I was uncomfortable and in pain and something spiritually was going wrong bad. They were spiritual white fellas, right? So they knew that much. And they gave me herbal tea and it kind of took the edge off it, but it wasn't working. They gave me a bit of healing and it just reacted and was like, it didn't work either. They're all standing there looking at me, and at that point I couldn't handle it. I got up, I ran outside, I was crying like a baby. I ran across this paddock and laid down on the ground and just said, "Mother, mother, help me, please." And sure enough, the pain went away instantly. And as I looked up, there were two women's Aboriginal spirits standing in front of me. There was an old woman and a young woman who was pregnant. And I lifted my head up off the ground. Now my body stopped being painful, and it went down. It was like a balloon, and it went down instantly, back to normal. And I looked at these two women spirits, and the old woman said, "Listen, this is important." And I thought, yeah, I'm listening. And then she told me the story of the massacre, and she pointed to where it was, and it was just behind this property that I was staying at, right? So I felt it way before I even got to that property. And it was a waterfall place where they shot and pushed everyone over the cliff. So they either died from being shot or they died from drowning in the water at the waterfall, right? And this is men, women, and children. And I say that now I understand the immense sadness and why my body blew up like a balloon, because that what happens when you drown. And the pains in my body were where they got shot. So I understood what was going on there. And then the young girl who was pregnant, she had her hands on her belly, and she looked at me and pointed, and she said, "You are very important to us because you make a bridge between us and them," because I was carrying my husband's baby and he's a white fella. So she said, "I'm making a bridge, and that would make everything heal." And I thought, what a big job, thank you. Thanks for putting that on me. But I understood that, and then they disappeared. I went back to the house, and they're like, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah." And then I went off my head. All right, next time you take me somewhere, please let me know if it's a massacre area. And they went, oh, we didn't think to mention it. And I'm like, hey, this is why I want to know where I'm going, because I can't rely on people to think that we're sensitive to these things. Like, we've got to manage it. Yeah. So there's just a little story about walking on a massacre area.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fun at all.
I try to avoid them places as much as I possibly can there, sis.
Well, the fact that they told me the message, remember the other day I told you, bro, sometimes they're waiting for somebody that is gifted to hear them. And when they tell their story, it heals and it allows them to keep moving on. But they're just waiting for the right person that has those gifts. And even in our own mob, remember I told you about my friend? She's a mission girl, full-blood Aboriginal woman, and she walked around for years among our people looking for a healer that could see what was wrong with her. And she couldn't find one until I met her. And when I met her, I went, "What's that thing above your head there, girl?" And she's like, "Can you see that?" And I went, "It's as plain as day." She's like, "Oh my God, I've been waiting for ages for someone." So there's a lot of Aboriginal healers, but I was the one that was to help her, because the others, that's how it works.
Yeah.
And the land's like a person. It heals the same way. Some people see it and some people don't.
Yeah. So at the moment, I've got a situation there that I've got to attend to, for want of a better word, of a young lady who's sort of a full blood, sort of latched onto her. But I need to have a yarn first.
Yeah, because you've got to find out where she went.
Yeah. What she's done, how she's done it.
And it might not be a bad thing. Like, you never know. You've got to sit with the person and find out. It might not be a bad thing, because some of our ancestors will come to you if they need.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a good thing. But we normally hear the bad things. We normally only hear the stories when a non-Aboriginal person has gone somewhere and something's happened, then they run to us and go, "Oh, I've got this thing around me, I went here." They never come any other time except when they're in bed like that. When they're in trouble, they've done the wrong thing. That's talking about that. doing the wrong thing. One thing I noticed, bro, we got a lot of different people from all over the world, and they have their own spirituality, right? Not religion.
Yeah.
Like we have people from different religions, and we have different people from different spiritual ways, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to pick on anyone in particular, but we have people come to Australia and they do their spiritual practices here, and that's a good thing. But we have a law here, and the law is when you go to someone else's country, you don't practice ceremony. You can still do your spiritual stuff, but you don't do ceremony in someone else's country without permission.
Mm.
Right? So I can't go to Donny's. Oh, well, I sort of can because Donny's on the border of my people, right? But if I went over the border to Anawan land and I wanted to do a ceremony, a spiritual ceremony, I wouldn't just be allowed to do it. I'd have to consult Donny and whoever the elders are in that country, because I might be doing my spiritual ceremony on somewhere really important and it'll fuck up the energy, and I wouldn't know.
Yeah, in other words, it could backfire up your a-hole.
Yeah, sorry about the swearing, but everyone knows that Aussie swear. Yeah.
I was trying to be polite there, sis.
Yeah, but that's what could happen. So I know people that have different spiritual practices from other countries, and I respect their spiritual practices because they're like ours, okay? But they're here doing it on our country without permission, and they've mucked up a lot of things without knowing it, and that peeves me off. Lack of education or ignorance, I'm not sure. There may be a little bit of both. But so if anyone comes to Australia and you're spiritual, and you can do your own personal stuff, but you can't do a big ceremony. You have to get permission. Like I said, because you don't know what you're standing on. What part of the land are you standing on? Is it important? Is it being specifically tuned to do something by our people for hundreds and thousands of years before you come along? So the ones that peeve me off the most are the ones that practice the craft, and dark things, yeah. And it'll come back on them. And that's the other thing. This country is really strong when it comes to spiritual energy, and it'll come back on you somehow, some way, some form, some shape. There's lots of stories about that coming back on, but I don't want to be too negative. And the same works for healing. Let's talk about positive for healing. There are places. Remember that rock, bro? Remember when we went onto that property and there was a campsite, an old campsite, we wanted to check it out, and there was that rock, and I knew that rock was a healing rock, and I laid on it.
Yeah.
Remember that rock? That was a special rock.
Yeah, I remember it. You sort of like, I don't know, were I seeing things or not, but you look like you're glowing.
Shh. You're not supposed to tell people that. Well, that was the rock. It's amplified, and the healing that come out of it, that was a healing place.
Yeah.
That was totally in. You just go to that place and it's like, yay, and you just soak it in. You don't need to do it because it's given it to you already. You don't need to do it. That was a beautiful place. I want to go back there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. There was some nice places around there. Well, next time you and Carl come back up, we'll go a bit more look around, have a look-see.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know the person's property now, you know.
Yeah, I know the person.
That's what I find sad, and this is where we have to be stealth and cheeky. We'll go walking around the bush looking for our traditional stuff, and most of the time it's on someone's property. So yeah, you got to sneak in real quiet and be very respectful. But we don't trash nothing. I think it should be equally shared, and it's not like we turn up in the droves. It's like you're lucky to see us at all. But yeah, that's the stealth part, eh? Going under fences. Over fences.
Getting back to that campsite there when they had Special Rock,
Yep,
just before we went there, I think you've seen it too, where that fox jumped up on the rock and watched us.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to
he,
mention the fox.
yeah, and he was just telling us that this was an old campsite. So you got to read the bush what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah, animals will tell you. Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he welcomed us because we were standing there waiting. And it wasn't until we saw him that we went in, eh? It was like
yeah.
he was telling us, yeah, you're okay. He sussed us out and went, yeah, you're okay. You're allowed in here. I've got some pictures, eh? I'll show some pictures of our beautiful country. Just rid the fire for a minute and keep talking. And we got photos of that, of you, where we took us to.
Where's that one, sis?
These are up the mountains here.
Yeah, that's beautiful there.
Yeah, these are up where I live.
Yeah.
If you can get there. Yeah.
Three sisters.
They're the three sisters, yeah.
Yeah.
I've chucked a couple of pictures of where we went. Oh, the kangaroos, they're up there. Hang on. Yeah, we'll just have a look, eh?
Yeah.
We're talking about the land. This is what we're talking about. This is mountains people is different. So I'm in Durrag land and it goes up to the mountains and then it changes. So it goes right up to here. Then the mob changes. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? These are the ones, bro. This is where I went up the mountains, right? And I was sitting on a cliff. There was a lookout, a cliff, and I had to hang on for life because it's really windy up there, right? And I'm looking, and all of a sudden, everything changed, and I saw along the edges here of the cliffs, it was a different picture, right? But I'm just using this one to explain what I saw. It was like time went backwards or forwards. I don't know. I wasn't in the time that I'm in right now. And I saw buildings and flying craft. And I'm thinking, is that the future or is that the past that I'm looking at? And I was looking at these escarpments, yeah, and they were, all the escarpments were actually like buildings, and there were craft flying in between the crevices. Just something I saw, bro, when one day when I went up the
I
mountains.
think that's the past because what you have found around that area down there, sis.
Yeah, I felt it was the past. I didn't want to be presumptuous.
I could be wrong, but I reckon it was the past.
Because what threw me was the flying craft. Like I saw the buildings in the mountains, and then I thought the flying craft come up the valley and came up in front of me, and I'm thinking, whoa, is that the future or the past? Yeah, I thought it was the past, my bro.
Yeah.
People don't realise Australia's a gold mine for the past.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Sort of. How would you put it? What would they say? Archaeology's backwards. That's it. They keep saying about Australia. It's nothing here.
Archaeology backwards.
Yeah, yeah. They reckon it's just that we were just Stone Age people. To them, we did have a civilization one time. We didn't like it. We went back to our traditional way.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, bro, because they think we were stupid because we never had a wheel, but we knew all about circles and cycles and common sense. You can't run a wheel in this country. You've got to carry everything. So it was useless to us. Also, we had technology, it never worked, so we went with what works, which is your natural technology, your creator given technology that you generate from your body.
Yeah.
Just a sideline, them plants there is what we use to make baskets. Look here, bro, can you see? Now you have to really look because I thought I had the wrong picture, but if you look in that long grass there, you can actually see kangaroos because they're camouflaged, right?
Yeah.
That was at your property, remember when?
That's a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we walks up and I went, bro, something's watching us, and it's really strong, and then all these kangaroos jump out of the trees.
Yeah, four was watching us where the rest of the mob, first them four roos came up, watched us, and then they all looked back to the left of the photo there, and the big mob came through.
Yeah, they were
They
like,
if we were okay to, you know what I mean? Then they went past.
yeah, they're like lollipop men. So three of them come out and sussed us out, and they were like lollipop people. Like the kids were crossing the road, so they stood there, watched us for I don't know what 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Really, and you could hear their minds. They're going, "There's one male, two females," and I was doing stupid things, and they're looking at me and turning their head like, "What's that crazy woman doing?" Anyway, they realised we were all right, and they turned around and gave a sign to the others. Then all the little ones started coming out. It was like they turned the lollipop sign around that said, "Okay, you can cross the road now." Yeah, and they waited there. It was the most amazing thing, man. They weren't
yeah,
worried.
pretty videotape it. It was really, really good to see. Like it was like, how would you say, like three soldiers um, came to guard, and so the mob could go past. Something like that, you know.
Yeah.
They were the
So
guardians of the mob.
if you look where the fence there curves and ends, there's a kangaroo. We're looking in the middle. There's one there. There's one behind the fence looking at you. If you have a good look, you can see them. They're
Yeah,
kangaroos,
yeah,
and they're just little kangaroos, not big reds. They're greys.
yeah.
The bestest sight. They trusted us with all their little ones. You should have seen all the little ones jumping along. Come on, kids. And then at the end of the line, as the line was getting thin, two of them jumped away, and one stayed right to the very end. And when they were all gone, and kind of looked at us, nodded his head, and then jumped off. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. I'll never forget that day. Hopefully, when we go back up there, they'll remember us. And they'll come back out and say good day. They'll be a bigger mob. There's that tree. That's the scar tree.
Yeah, that's the scar tree. That's down. That was down at the fish trap, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fish trap. Yep.
Yeah, that was up a ways because the campground was huge. We just got. Oh, look at that. All right, this is only up for a few seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you know what it is and you can see what's there, good on you. And if you can't, tough luck. And we're not talking about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's gone. And there's a reason for it. You'll have to go back and watch that clip. And if you know what it is and you can see something, please leave a message in the comment and tell me what you think it is. Notice me and Donny aren't Donny's not commenting. That's up the road.
Exactly.
I can paddle down and see that. That is the weirdest looking piece of land I ever saw. Yeah, that's just
That's not.
Yeah, look at the point on it.
That's not natural.
No, I want to get in my little canoe and paddle down there and have a look.
Whereabouts is that one, sis?
That's just up the road from, just down the river here, on the Nepean River. Seriously, bro, if you come here, I can put you in a canoe and we can go canoeing up and see all these weird and wonderful things just up around the river bend. Oh, yeah. Wants to know what to feed kangaroos. Apple. They like seeds, grass.
Yeah.
They like bread, but you can't give them bread and that. It's not good for them. Yeah, they're vegetarians. They're grass eaters. Yeah, so that's just up the river, and I want to. No one will go with me, man. No one's adventurous. I've got these U-Butte things, and there's even a place across the road where you can hire a canoe, right? I've got a canoe in the garage, and I've got a place across the road where you can hire canoes, but no one will go with me. Either they're unfit or they don't do that kind of thing. But there's gems like that just up the river. And if you go, I reckon, if you go further down the river and you're really stealth and quiet, really, 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 really early in the morning, you'll see a hairy man. Because they come down to the river. But, yeah, that's on the way. All right, so they were just some pictures. They're just some pictures. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Well, so there you go. Oh, hang on, I'm trying to take this silly. Oh, man. There we go. Where's my fire gone? Hang on, I'll just get my fire up. So, all right, where were we? What were we on about, bro?
Right, just different places at the moment.
So, I've showed everyone pictures about the countryside now. It changes. And law changes according to the country. So the harsher the country is, the harsher the laws become.
Yeah.
For survival. So what are we going to talk about now, bro? We'll just keep going and let's talk more about spirit stuff. We did actually want to talk about stuff. That was the whole point of us getting in. We had it all figured out last night.
Now, at the moment, my topic is on Atlantis at the moment. I'm trying to talk a bit more about Atlantis.
Right. So, talking about that, Australia is Mu. So there's Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, and then yeah. So we're Mu. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's basically correct. What I've been told.
All right. So everyone's looking for the others. They wouldn't be next to each other. So if we're Mu, the cities wouldn't be very close. They'd be a bit further away. Hey.
Yeah. Well,
were they different times?
Yeah. Well, if you consider that Atlantis was in the Atlantic Oceans around the Azores, right? And they say Lemuria is off the coast of California, right? And Mu was part there of New Zealand and Australia. That makes sense to me. The reason why I'm going on that, I'm only going on the evidence that's been shown to me, is because of the Azores. That was on what they call a continental ridge. Pardon me. And it sunk. And why I assumed that the Lemuria is North California is because when they were doing some dredging out there, I think it was 350 miles away from California's coast, they dredged up mammoth bone.
Ooh.
Yeah. Off a continent, off a shelf down there. So that must mean an island out there at one stage.
Yep. Land.
Right. Now, if you look at Australia, actually New Zealand is actually a continent, but most of it's sunk. It was off the coast of Australia. So that means that Australia, Tasmania, Papua New Guinea were all connected.
Yeah, because I heard a story where blackfella's story, down the end there, they were on the coastline and they saw Tasmania float by and stay where it is. They broke off for sure. We broke off. It broke off. Yeah, and it floated and just stayed where it is at the moment. That also tells us that it broke off and moved, that we're floating, we're not fixed. that our countries all over the world are not fixed into the ground. They're actually moving all the time. So,
Yes, there is.
and they
That's
can
the
move
old story I
fast.
even knew about continental drift.
Yeah, and they can move fast. Nature can move really fast. Nature can change just like that if she wants to. That's why you got to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been. Going back to when it broke off, that would have been an interesting time. That would have been the beginning of everything changing back then.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I've been going on too about is what they call reincarnation.
Oh, that's right. That's what we want to talk about. Yes, I love that.
Um,
I love that.
I've listened to a lot of people on YouTube about being reincarnated from Atlantis, and they all talk about one thing, which I'm starting to believe it could be crystal technology.
Oh, yeah, because crystalline. Remember how I said once when we had the giant trees and the water layer above, and the giant trees fell and the water come down, we had flooded, right? Go back to there, and before that, there was crystalline energy. So everything had some sort of crystallization in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything was more spiritual, obviously, more in
Yes.
tune. Everything was turned up a bit.
See, the reason I believe in crystalline energy because I remember my uncle talking about my dad after he came back from the war. They taught him how to make a crystal wireless.
Oh, I remember that
Just
as a
had
kid. We used to get, as a kid, for Christmas present, you get a little pack with a crystal and some wire, and you make your own wireless.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I always thought that, because I say that to people now. Hey, when we were kids, we used to make our own radio. Check the
yeah.
technology. It's not that hard to do, and we can do even better things because it's that simple. And what's down in the ground? Big crystals. So the mother uses crystals to energize herself, crystal, gold, and all these minerals. So they're in us, and yeah, they just made us stupid, so we forget that simple things like that can be made. But I remember that, a blast from
See,
the
the other
past.
thing, the other thing too, a lot of people don't seem to understand. If they want to find out about Atlantis, they should come to Australia. Uh, there is actually been possibility of Atlantis being in Australia. Atlanteans is the word. We really don't know what their real names were.
No.
We only got what some gentleman about 2,000 years ago has said about it. Right? But
Well,
he mentioned one certain metal that was they used, orichalcum. Yeah, there was actually some orichalcum found in Australia, fashioned into a ring, and put on a place for a reason. They were actually on the parallel of 33 degrees, where they were all found. That all these rings were found.
how
And
big were the rings?
now, if you know where 33 degrees is, it's actually at Gosford. Guess what's at Gosford? The Gosford glyphs.
Yep.
See, there is a connection there somewhere. We just need to find that connection between Atlantis and Australia.
Yep. So I look on Google Maps and go down and look at places that are inaccessible because they're in the middle of the bush. What I've noticed, Gosford's on the coastline. There's lots of interesting, weird stuff to see in the bush off the coastline. And in some
Yeah.
areas, it goes in a bit further. And when you look at the land around it, you can see that some kind of water has come in. or something's come in to a certain point, and there's only remnant, like some places you can't find nothing. And then after where the waters come in, you can actually still find really interesting things. There's so much interesting stuff out there in the middle of nowhere, without going into detail, because every time I find something, it disappears. It's like somebody's watching. So I don't talk about it anymore because I don't want people scrubbing it off or destroying it or whatever. Yeah, so I don't tell you where I found things anymore. But I found lots of stuff out there, and what you're talking about, and that vision I had with the flying craft and that would fit in. Actually, there's a lot of digging to do there, because I know a lot of people that go, yeah, I met them all my life. Yeah, I was at Atlantis, and they tell me some BS, and I look at them and go, oh, that's not, for me, it's not grounded enough. It's not solid. Like,
Yeah.
I think, how can I put it? So when something big happens in the world, it imprints on everybody, and so it gets pushed into the forward. If you were there or not, you'll still remember it, because one of your relatives were around when it happened, or somewhere on the earth. I hope I'm explaining this right. Yeah, some people are BS, right? And you ask them about the vision and it doesn't fit in right. Yeah. But then there's other people.
I'm asking myself, sis, is should we find Atlantis or not?
Well, bro, this is how I think about it. I know that Australia's new, and look, I've met people when I was young, old people that told me about this, right? They told me stuff about it. They told me about New, Lemuria, and Atlantis. And when I was a little girl, I had a past life vision, memory, but it was only one snippet, so I can't tell you much about it. I just remember, I'll tell you what it is. And it was just one snippet, and this is all I can get from Atlantis. Oh, no, they're telling me if I string my visions together, there's actually more there, which I've never really dug into this, so this is new territory for me, bro. I'm glad you brought it up. So the most prominent vision I remember from my past life, I was a young girl sitting with my legs in the ocean. It was like a platform, like a cement platform, and I had my legs from my knees down splashing in the water, and I was talking to a dolphin, a proper yarn with a dolphin I was having. The dolphin all of a sudden warned me there was danger behind me, and as I turned around, I just remember this big giant man with a beard and long hair, and he was fair-skinned, and behind me there was chaos and people were running everywhere, and that's it. He might have killed me, I don't know. That was the end of the vision. So that was in a water place, and I look at the technology they had in the town and the way it was made. It was beautiful. It was kind of Egyptian, but it wasn't. It was more to what you're talking about, Donny. But that was just a short snippet, and I can't get much from that. I can't really get a timeline. I don't actually know whether it was Atlantis, Lemuria, or Mu. But I'm going to sit back in the next couple of days and try to draw my visions together of what I've seen, the flying craft, the beautiful cities, that one that I remember so strongly, and try to dig it up.
Yeah, put it this way, Sid, like, they got to think, if a big disaster like that in an old microcontinent or islands or whatever they want to call it, disappeared under waves and all them people killed.
Yeah.
That very similar, like a massacre site, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
Their bodies, their souls would be displaced, so they'd be looking for new bodies to go into, isn't it?
Yeah. Hence why so many people kind of remember things. Because it's flat. It was one thing. I like what Bud said here, that Atlantis was actually the culture, and that would make in because there was Lemuria and you and that, like there were other places, and yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
whatever
they were
happened,
all at one given stage.
yeah,
They were all on that same plane, but something happened, made
yeah,
one go in a different direction.
yeah.
That's
Well,
how I'm starting to see it. All the, what I listen to, what I read.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the human condition, greed, got the best
I
of
was
them.
going to say the same thing. Yeah. Now, if we think practically and we look at our people across the world, we have tendencies to be greedy and selfish
Yeah,
and mean, and that's what I could see. Yeah, one mob got a bit out of hand and made war, probably.
yeah,
Um, and they had machinery that they could make a big wave in them days. They could make exactly what we have now. They can make an earthquake. They can make a flood. They can make tsunami. They can make whatever they want. But remember, no one's ever defeated the mother, so she'll slap you
yeah.
in the yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
You always got to say, "Oh, mother."
So we have so much left. I reckon. You know how the Smithsonian and all that, they've got stuff, the Vatican's got stuff. I reckon all them people have got stuff from Atlantis they don't want us to know, or the
Yeah.
Atlantean culture. Or it also could be staring us straight in the face and we don't know because they've called it something different. That's a possibility.
And see, there's another place they should be checking too. It's what they call Sahul, which was a landmass between Australia and Papua New Guinea. No one's checked there.
Yeah. And we have
No.
stories in our culture about land bridges.
Yeah,
Yeah. One I know, there were land bridges and the earth began to shake and the land bridge started to break down, and there was a little boy and his family were on the other side of the land bridge in another country, right? And as it was breaking down, he asked Creator, my family's there, can you save them? And the rainbow serpent made a rainbow bridge while all our people come back home, and then it fell
yeah,
apart. That's one story. So land bridges are quite common in our culture.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But there's another thing too you could look at as well. If you go to nearly all the oldest cultures in the world, as we know as the oldest culture,
yeah.
the, what's the name? What do they call them? Hold on a sec, there, sis. Just hold that thought there.
All right. Must be time for tea. Hey, the only thing we haven't got there is a billy can on the fire so you can
Yeah.
have a cup of tea while we're having a yarn.
No, I closed the door. Son decided to go and put the compressor on. I couldn't hear you.
All right.
Now, what
Yeah,
was I talking about? Yeah. Yeah, get back to what I was saying.
all right, you can have that for. Do you want me to give it back to
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Now, if you go around the world and you can see these false doors, this is the what if part. You know what I mean? What if them false doors was actually a transporter, teleport transporter,
Yeah, I feel
but we
that.
just had to fire them back up again?
Yeah, I reckon you got to hit them with a certain vibration and then they'll become translucent. That's every time I see a false door, I look at it and I feel, oh, if you just hit it with the right vibration, it'll open. That's how I feel.
Yeah. That's their pressure. If you hit them with the right vibration,
It'll
they're
open.
going to open again. But where do they go to? How far do they go to?
I reckon they go underground somewhere into another place, another land. Or they go to other lands, the more lands where there's more land.
Yeah. And who's to say that the Atlanteans are still around today, but they're just not connecting with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, because let's go into the UFO theory.
If you were a smarter civilization that lived in peace and harmony, why would you want to come here? You wouldn't want to know us.
Pretty savage, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. No, but I'm going on the UFOs. Like the basic shape, some UFOs is that disc shape, isn't it? Eh? Varies a little bit, a bit.
I've seen actually.
Maybe they are actually the descendants of Atlantis, and they wish not to connect with us, but they keep an eye on us. Possibilities. You know what I mean there, sis?
Yep.
Yeah, there's the possibilities. We don't know that.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think it's better off we don't know. Some things, you know, is like, man, I would have been better.
That's a fair thought. I've been getting a fair bit too. How much knowledge do you want to know?
I'm a great believer in when you're ready, you'll get the next bit.
Yeah, but like I said, if we had too much knowledge, I reckon we'd be silly as a loose will.
Yeah. And people are unpredictable. Just because I learned this, just because I can be cool, calm and collected or think or act proper in a situation doesn't mean other people will.
No.
So.
Yeah. See, even with all that knowledge, you need wisdom. Like, you got to be wise to use that knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured us here, we are more gifted than we know, but we're like children and we can't handle that gift properly. So we've been put here and monitored until we evolve enough to handle what we truly are.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
everyone knows what I'm saying, yeah, because it's true. I heard this story. It freaked me out because I thought, that we were capable of this. I reckon, no, I'm not on Facebook, Grub. I don't do social media. If you want to get a hold of me, people, just email me. I'll put my email in the link or something. It's no secret. If you want to talk to me that way, you can do that. And I go from there. Where was I? Actually, I don't know. I'll try to stay private, but friggin' hell, how do you meet people if you're too private? Thanks for God. That's funny. On you, bro. On you.
I'm trying to be private, but it doesn't seem bloody well work.
I know, the quieter you want to be, the more attention you draw.
Yeah.
So, honestly, and some of the craft we're seeing belongs to us because we've got good technology, so we reckon. Some of the craft we see belongs to us, some of it belongs to them. They're not coming from another planet, they're coming from out of the ground and they're coming from the other land. I'll tell you something I saw. I think some people might have heard this story before. Me and my friend were standing in my driveway out the front, and all of a sudden, towards a direction, a big orange orb come up straight out of the ground and went across the sky. Now, this is what happens to people. My friend goes, "Oh, that was a comet or something." And I'm looking at her, and I went, "Sister girl, it come up out of the ground. It's not a comet." She goes, "Oh, yeah." Her mind instantly was having something normal to see something over something she can't explain, and she just when it was a comet. It wasn't. It was a big orange ball come up out of the ground and shot off over the mountains. So the next day, I got online and I tracked any news of anything unusual going across Australia, and I found this big orange ball went across Australia, and as it did, it knocked out electricals and shit like that and caused problems. So that confirmed what we saw. So it came out of the ground. It didn't come from the sky. I saw it come out of the ground.
Yeah. I'll be back in a sec. Too much tea there, sis.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, back in a sec.
All right. So yeah, these things are up in the sky. They belong to different people because you got long ones, round ones, coloured ones. Another one I saw was a red light. I went for a walk one day and I thought it was the traffic report helicopter that flies over the freeways and reports the traffic. Because where I was, I could see the big bridge in the freeway. And I'm looking at this thing, I thought, oh yeah, that's what it is. So I kept walking and I was back on my way home. As I turned the corner to come into my driveway, I looked up and this thing was right in front of me. And I'm thinking, I didn't hear any helicopter noises. How did it get from all the way over here, there, to where I am in so quickly? And it's just sitting there with this red light. And then I realised what it was, and I just said to it, okay, so I know what you are and you know what I am, now what? And the red light just turned off and it disappeared. So I just kept walking home. I didn't want to talk. You didn't want to talk to me, bro. Maybe I was a bit abrupt.
How rude.
Because I didn't say good day. I just went, okay, I know what you are and you know what I am. Yeah. Now what? I should have said, oh, hello. Yeah, I wasn't very polite. Sometimes I'm not polite. Sometimes I'm really straightforward and rough, but depends on the situation. So they will probably look and went, them humans, they're so rough and rugged, look, you know, and say hello. You should just go, who are you? Who the hell are you? Okay, so yeah, that was plenty of encounters with flying things. Australia's like a hotspot, but no one really says anything because it's so common. And we know there's holes in the mountains that go underground. One of the army said to me once, there's that many tunnels in the mountains going underground. If we have an earthquake, the mountains are going to fall down. And I actually realised, shit, that could be a reality, you know.
Yeah.
Energy has feelings too. Yeah, it does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I just, maybe in my past life, I died underground. I don't know. I just don't like going
underground. When we went to Cooper Pedy, hubby goes, do you want to sleep in an underground hotel? I'm like, are you kidding? There's no windows. I sort of feel like I'm being buried or something. The thought of it just freaked me out. I mean, they're beautiful because they're underground. It's in Cooper Pedy and they dig the opals. It's beautiful, right? And it's really hot, so it's cool down there. And they've got air vents and all this, right? They've got holes dug out. But no, don't sound with me. I don't like underground. To the point where when I die, I'm supposed to be buried and I'm having second thoughts now. I don't want to be buried underground. Our culture, you don't get buried underground like normal people, like today's culture does it. We got put in a log. And if you did get buried by the earth, you're probably buried standing up if you're a special person. So it wasn't like being buried in the ground. You're in the side of a hill. So it's still like, yeah, it's completely different to being buried in a box underground. I heard, bro, that if a woman stays underground for more than 3 months, she becomes infertile.
Well, I didn't know that.
That was a science thing, yeah. And I thought, and you hear stories, right, where catastrophes happen in the world and people went underground, that's how they survived. And I thought, well, if you go, what happened? Did them women come infertile? Like, made me ask the question. Or did they have technology to stop that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But a science guy did a thing and said, yeah, if women stay under, I think it's got something to do with the light, where there's no natural light for so long, it shuts down.
Yeah.
So we know there are underground, and we have places in Australia where our culture says don't go there because the underground beings are in there. And
yes.
Right, that's true. And we have other people around the world telling stories like that. So we'll tick that one off. Because I've got a list I've got a list of what our culture says, and then I tick it off according to, if I hear it around the world, I go, yeah, that's true, because the rumours around the world, it's in our culture, yep. Yeah. And when they say we come from the Pleiades, because in our culture, the stars are spiritual beings. It's a spiritual world up there. It's not a physical world, it's a spiritual world. And when we say we come from the stars, our spirit come from there.
Yeah.
Because only, yeah. That's what happens. I say that to people just off the bat. I forget they live in a different world to me. And I remember walking up to this guy and he said something about the stars, and I'm going, yeah, they're spiritual beings, eh? And he goes, yeah, that's what the culture says. And I'm like, oh, right, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a planet.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, and every time we used to camp, and camp out in the bush with Dad and Mum. The first thing Dad did when it came dark, he says, "You kids go and find the Seven Sisters."
In the sky.
And he go for the Seven Sisters in the sky.
Oh, yeah, grab the moon spirits.
Yeah.
The minion spirits, they're little lights, they're little beings that come with us. You run and hide, because they'll take you back with them. They followed my mum. The dog on the tucker box, that's where she hid from the minion spirits, because they were following her. Yeah, so she hid behind the dog on the tucker box until they went away. But I asked her, I forgot to ask her, did she lose time? Because she wouldn't have realised. If she had sat there for a while, she wouldn't have realised if she lost time.
Yeah.
I always check. People think I'm weird. When I go for a walk, I say to my husband, how long was I? I'll look at the time and go, how long was I gone for? And he'll go, oh, about an hour. And I'll go, yeah, that's how long it seemed. I always check, just in case. And he's like, he looks at me like, why are you checking that? And go, well, just in case I lose time, and then I can keep track of it, because I've got a witness.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't know most of the time. You could be gone for 5 seconds, you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
That 5 seconds could be 3 hours. I had a dream once that happened. I got picked up out the back. I was gone for 3 hours, and I thought I was sleeping. Well, kind of, my body was asleep. I was gone for 3 hours, and in the dream I was actually gone for 3 days. And because I said, well, I need to tell my family where I am. And they went, oh, we'll take you back soon. I'm like, okay. That was a weird dream. I wake up and went, just where I went. Well, that was a dream. It wasn't a vision. There's differences between visions and dreams, and like the fleshy, I call them fleshy flashes that you get in your mind. They're all different. So a vision you can have while you're awake. When you're dreaming and asleep, you can actually be out of body and it's real, or it can just be a dream. Yeah, it can just be the make-up part of your head. You have to discern which part, what did I just experience, and what realm was it in. You know if you're awake and you haven't.
Yeah. I remember one time there was I was pretty young at the time, probably about 14, 15. I had a dream. I was floating over an ocean, and I passed over a container ship and had Chinese writing on it. And then that's the only thing I can remember of that. So that it could be a possible out of body experience. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the other thing I find too is deja vu.
Oh, yes. They showed me how it happens. Upstairs, did deja vu. Do you want to know how? Do you want to? I'll tell you. You talk first, and then I'll tell you what they told me.
It's just I've been to places like you look at them and like I've been here before, but I've never been there. And then there's the people have actually come up to me, especially my mob, and they said to me, he said, "Oh, I've seen you before." And I said, "Where?" And he said, "Oh, Burke, Walgett, Broken Hill." "Mate, I haven't been there." And he said, "Yeah, you've been there because I've seen you there." "I haven't been there." And he said, "No, I've seen you there."
So I think they're two different things, bro. I think you're going out of body and going somewhere else, unless you've got a clone running around somewhere. But you probably went out and appeared somewhere else. I call that going on missions because they seem to be out to places that you've been. Deja vu is a little different. Deja vu, from what they told me, in a microsecond, you'll get a vision of the future, right?
Yeah.
And then when that future comes, the microsecond will unpack itself and you go, "I've been here before." You actually physically haven't been there, but you have, because they gave you went into the future for that microsecond and saw what happened and then come back here. Right?
Yeah, like the record jump for a second.
Yep, like the record jumped and then you come back to the beginning of the song again. And then as you play through and you get to the end of the song, you hear, "I know these words because I've already been here." And you kind of have, but it was packed in a all that information was in one microsecond, and it was a vision and a real experience that they give you.
Yeah, but look, deja vu, I find sometimes it's also to do with reincarnation as well. Because it could be a past life, remembrance of a past life.
Yeah, but that's not going into the future and having a microsecond and information placed into you. That's actual memory. That's your actual memory because you were actually here. There's a difference, bro. Having different. One's really, and one's like, "Fuck, I remember this. I lived this," and the other one is a future, because you get a future thing, right? There's a difference. I studied this all my life, man. Like, when I tell you this stuff from my experience and what I've been taught, everyone's been shown different things, but this is what I've been shown, what I've lived through, and what I've been taught.
Yeah. The other thing too is, now I've got myself lost here.
Sorry.
No, regard that. I can't remember it. Must have been a lie.
Yeah. You've gone places that, like, when we go to La Perouse, I know for a fact you had a past life there, right? It's not deja vu. You have actually lived a past life there. I know that for a fact. I've seen it. So when I take you there, it's going to be a big thing. It'll be very emotional, and it'll feel like deja vu, but it'll be more intense because you've actually been before.
Yeah. Well, one part there I want to have a look at is it's a beach, and then on one end of the beach there's a heap of rocks. That's one part I really want to see.
Yep. And that's the part where you've got to be careful at, because something happened there. Yeah, I normally don't talk like this because I hate being a know-it-all. Like, when you know something's fact and true and you say it, I hate being a know-it-all, so I don't talk about spiritual stuff like this very often. But me and Donny just felt the need to have a yarn. Oh, Grub met his wife at Lapa. Yeah.
Hey?
Grub in the chat room, he met his wife at Lapa. At La Perouse.
Who?
Grub O'Neill in the chat room.
Oh, Grub. Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, one of our viewers.
Yeah.
When Donny comes, Grub, we need to hook him up and take him to Lapa. He can join us because you're in Australia. Anyone in Australia, then we go somewhere like that, you're welcome to join us.
Yeah, you're welcome to come along, brother.
Yeah. So if you want my email, grab a pen and I'll tell you.
Just put it in the comments.
in the comments. All right. It's really, really easy to remember. Oops. So that's my email. It's no secret. I'm not a millionaire or anything, so I'm not worried. There's nothing I've got that you'd want anyway. There. If you want to email me, have a yarn. That's what you do. Just let me know who you are, so I'm not talking, you know, you're a stranger. My mum told me not to talk to strangers, but when I was a little girl, a stranger walked past our fence every day, and I had this compelling urge to run out and say, "G'day, Uncle Alfie, how you going?" Because he was Aboriginal, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. And I knew it was like upstairs said, you have to go and say hello to him because it's making him happy. And I'm like, yeah, hey, how you going? And Mum would go, don't talk to strangers. And going, but Mum, he's different. He was different because he was Aboriginal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give me if you want to talk to me, give me an email. Even Donny hasn't even got my email.
Well, you know you don't know this is.
Yeah. We don't need it, actually. Yesterday, this is funny. I'm sitting here and I'm talking to people all day on the phone for different reasons. And then I got the black fella telephone call from my head. Oh, Donny, I need to ring Donny. And I'm thinking, oh, I've been on the phone all day. And then I get this message and it goes, ring, ring. So I rang Donny. Yeah. Our bush works better. So this is something our what do they call it? What do they call it in the real world? Telepathy. All right, our telepathy works fine. And it's actually a real thing. And I can't wait for the rest of the people in the world to get to the point where their telepathy is working really good. But you have to conduct yourself properly, because if you can read people's minds and they can read yours, you can't think horrible things. War will happen. People will start killing each other because you think your thoughts are private. Well, they're actually not really that private.
Yeah. It's like having a megaphone sometimes.
A megaphone, yeah. And I've been in many situations where I've heard people's thoughts and I thought, how rude, you bitch, or something like that, right? But you can't do anything because you got to conduct yourself properly. Because if they knew you could hear them, they'd run away. That's what happened. That's why I haven't got a lot of friends. No, I'm joking. Yeah, once they realise what you can do, they get afraid. But part of there is there's laws, and they're LORE laws. You've got to maintain yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that bush telegraph reminds me of the old phones they used to call party line. Yeah, party line. It was one wire that ran to dozens of houses, and the phone you picked up, you had a different, like yours might have had 3 rings, the next one might have 3 or 4 rings, next one had 2 rings, and if you had the 3 rings, you pick it up. But sometimes you can hear the rings. And it was the old party line. They used to call it the old party line.
Oh, right.
And they used to go back to the exchange, and there was a lady there. That's right. Sometimes you can pick it up and actually listen to somebody talking to each other on your phone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they used to call the old party line.
We never had a phone. I never had a phone or a car when I was growing up until like the mid-70s.
We did have one there at, near Gloucester. There was a party line phone there. Yeah, I think ours was 3 rings. Right. But you hear, sometimes you hear the phone and go 2 rings or 4 rings or 5 rings.
Wow, I didn't know that, bro. Like I said, we never had phones.
I've still got one of them old phones that actually does it. You wind him up and you had batteries right beside it so you can talk to people.
Oh, I do have an old-fashioned phone. Like, I love the old-fashioned phone. I actually had a proper old-fashioned phone hooked up into the normal phone socket, but because it's all technological now, it was a bit hard to hear people, but it still worked. And kids come in and they go, oh, is that an old phone? I go, yeah, I'll give you $5 if you can figure out how to use it. And they wouldn't take it because they knew they couldn't. That's all right. We never had colour. You know, I never had colour TV till late 70s because we couldn't afford to buy one. And my dad used to say, don't worry, when everyone's got one, they'll be really, really cheap and we'll get one then. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. That's true, Dad, and it makes sense. So, yeah, we didn't have colour TV for a long time.
I remember Queensland when they first brought out the colour TV. And it was in a window shop. And you had to force your way in to just go and have a look at it because all the people used to get around it and have a look, you know.
Yeah.
Colour TV. They were very expensive back then when I was a kid.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, TVs. And now I don't even have a TV. We chucked it out years and years ago.
Yeah, I've still got a TV. It's an old box one, but I don't use it.
No, stop TV. That was the best thing I ever did. I remember as a kid, I was inside and I ran inside to do something because I was playing outside with my friends. And as I was running out the door, my dad goes, he pointed to the TV, the black and white TV, and he goes, look, they're landing on the moon. And I turned around and looked at it, and I looked at him, and I went, that's not real, and ran outside playing. I continued playing. And then I grew up and realised, hey, when I was a kid, I said that, I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah, I remember that. They actually wheeled a TV into the classroom when they were landing on the moon. Yeah, to show us.
I was still at home because Donny's a little bit older than me. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was TV. So going back to duty talks, telepathy and that, and getting visions is like having a TV in your head, and you get, you pick up that channel and you get visions from that channel. You can shut it off and there's no ads. The TV in your head. Yeah, TV, that's it was a diabolical thing they made. And we've had it before. I reckon we've had Skype and all that before. We've had mobile phones and little laptop things. We've had them in the past. But again, I prefer the one Creator gave us. We can do amazing things if you only give it a chance.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that we all know the vibration's changing. Sometimes I think that certain people know that the vibrations are changed and that we will go up and our gifts will become more prevalent. And there's actually steps to feel that in real life. Sometimes I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I've got a list of all the things that you shouldn't cover as a human being. What are you doing, Donny?
Hey?
Sounds like you were out on the road.
No, just outside for a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Because of a cold day today, it's really cold inside the house.
Yeah, right. Got the fire on? I've got the fire on, bro.
Yeah, but it's not throwing out much heat.
It's not putting out much heat. I need to crank it up a bit, eh?
Yeah, you might have to throw another log on it.
Maybe we need a different fire. When I was young, I learned all about the fire spirits and how to give them maximum respect, because fire is a spirit of its own. And when I was a little kid, I didn't have that respect and I burned myself. and realised, oh, how disrespectful of me, and I understand why you burned me, and I had maximum respect ever since then. And you know what it gave me, bro? It gave me a tolerance of heat tolerance. That's what it gave me in return. I had an amazing heat tolerance. I remember getting burned by the fire as a kid. I was out the back, fixing my fire to this outside, and yeah, I was being stupid and disrespected it, and it burned me. And after that, I had this amazing heat tolerance, and I understood the energies of fire. So, out of me being disrespectful and saying sorry, I actually got a gift of knowledge. So that was nice. Oh, we've got lots of noise going everywhere. I've got funny noise
electric
on my end. I've got noises on my end. It's noisy. It's noisy.
Yeah, that's the electric jug there, sis.
The electric what?
Electric jug.
Oh, yeah, I've got the same on my
Making
end.
another cup of tea.
Yeah, I've got the same on my end. I'm thinking maybe we should look at something while all the noise is happening. What have I got? Haven't got much. I did have something with trees, but I can't find it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really unusual today. Last 5 days has been bloody hot.
Yep. Real
Now
hot,
it's
and I've
really
been loving
cold.
it. I've been loving it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I woke up this morning and went, oh, I just want to stay in bed. But for the last couple of days, I've been out and about in the sun outside with no one else did.
Well, this morning we didn't have a frost.
No, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, so I said, oh, bugger it, I won't light the fire.
It's changing.
And then it came about 9 o'clock, and then it kind of went really cold. Like it's gone back to winter.
Yep, I knew this would happen, and it'll flip around the other way because summer actually hasn't started yet. It's too hot for it to be this hot. But there's no rules. Chuck all the rules out. New rules are coming. New site. Like, everything's new now. I mean, everything's different. Hopefully, it's different. Even karma. Did you know what they call karma? We call it what goes around comes around. About a year and a half ago, maybe a bit longer or shorter, that was all cleared. It was like all that stuff was cleared. What goes around comes around, karma. All cleared, and it was like we all started with a new slate. So I hope everyone's been good. We all started with a new slate. For some reason, everything's changed. I never knew it changed.
Rising.
Yeah. The spirit things are more prevalent. Everything's become more advanced. More people are becoming on a higher vibration. Yeah, everything's changing. The animals, people can understand the animals better now, and they're starting to hear them now. Whereas before, only like gifted people could hear them, but normal people are starting to hear the animals speak. Yeah, so everything's changing. And remember, it's one big cycle, and this is a really big cycle, so it's been a long time since we've been here, so it all seems new, but it's not. Oh, you were talking, and I'm thinking, oh, I got that picture somewhere, and I can't find it. So no pictures today, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to reincarnation. I think that goes in a great cycle too. I think the cycle starts, and then we all come down at different times, and then after a long period of time, it stops. A heap of us go home, and only certain people continue, and then it starts again, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know you can be born and not come back for 100 years. You can be born and come back in 36 hours.
Yeah.
it depends on your path and what you're doing and what you need to know and not
Yeah.
know. And you can come back really fast. Or you, like I said, it might be 300 years and you come back and then you look around and go, shit, this place has changed. Didn't look like this last time I've been here because it's been so long since we've been back. And I kind of believe you keep doing that until people call it reset. I just call it the cycle. That part of the cycle comes. Yeah, and then you can go home. But you can't go home until the cycle's completed. It feels kind of like that.
Yeah.
And when I say home, I mean where you're, and that should be defined. So there's spirit world and there's different places in spirit world. And you can come from these different places. So, all right, well, this is a good way to explain it. So the stars are spiritual beings, and as we know, there's different places in the stars, and one person can come from somewhere close and one person can come from somewhere far away in the spirit world, because the stars are spiritual beings. Get the picture? Kind of like that. The way other people say it is that they're actually planets and and aliens come from them, and some people come from some planets and some people come from other planets. And when you go home, you stop this cycle of the Earth and you go back to those planets, but they're not planets. So, does that explain it?
Yeah, it explains in some ways, yeah.
Because I had a conversation with a friend the other day and I realised I don't actually explain things very much. That's what I thought. So I thought I'd try to explain things a bit better. But then I feel like I'm a know-it-all, so I don't do what I do. I go, yeah, that's what it is, and everyone can have their own thoughts. But I thought I'd make an effort and try to explain things the way I see them. So, and I could get to the end of my life and go, I had everything completely wrong. But that can happen to any of us, but I don't. It seems too familiar, and my life's full of too much good stuff. So, anyway, I've got shitty stuff as well, like everyone else, but So, reincarnation. And I reckon the first time you come here to this world, you don't fall far from where you landed. And I kind of remember coming here, and you know how you see them balls of light? They call them comets. I don't know the difference between a comet and what's the other one? Well, come on, Donny, you're supposed to be helping me out here. There's comets and what's the other one?
Meteorites.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right. So it kind of looked like that. It was a little ball and shot through the sky, landed in the earth, and then I come out from there. And I looked at these things fly in the air, and I think from that memory, and I think, is that how we're getting here? That's how we get here. You got to get here through that, and then you got to take a body on. So you come here as the energy, and then you go into a reincarnated life and take on a body. Otherwise, you're just a spirit. That's how I kind of figure it.
Yeah.
Tell
The story about the meteorites there, sis.
Yeah, do.
Yeah. Well, it was a mate of mine. He went out to Uluru because he wanted to take his mum out there. And his mum always wanted to go, but she never got the chance to. So he decided to take her out there. And they drove for 3 days out there, stayed 1 day and drove 3 days back. Anyway, they pulled up a place called Ningen. And there's supposed to be a meteorite crater out that way. And he was talking to his mum. He says, they were talking about meteorite, and he said, I wonder if we can find a piece of meteorite here. And he got out of the car, stepped out of the car, looked down between his feet, and he picked up a piece of stone. It was a piece of a meteorite.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he just stepped out of the car. He's still got it now.
Wow.
And it's really strange because one side is magnetic, the other side's not.
Wow.
Yeah.
some countries used to say there were like floating islands in the sky, and they were land, like lands floating up in the sky above the clouds. You couldn't see them. And every now and again they'd come down, you'd see the bottom of it, pure dirt and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's like them pictures of the cities in the cloud, isn't it?
Yeah, the cities in the cloud, yeah, like that, yeah.
Yeah, you see them, like you see photos of them, cities in the cloud.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I've never witnessed it myself.
Based on a true story, then. Like, we don't know that, though. Did we get somebody else on here, did we?
Nah, that was just my computer telling me that Algo's live stream. So we've been here nearly 2 hours, bro.
Yeah, 2 hours, 45 minutes, 25 seconds.
Yeah, yarning up about whatever. But that was the point. That's why it's called Campfire Yarns. I'm going to keep Campfire Yarns going. And just get on.
There's another thing we never touched on too.
What, bro?
Downloads.
Pardon? Downloads? Oh, yeah, when you get upgrades, I call them. Downloads, upgrades.
Like, somebody asks you a question, and you answer that question, and you think to yourself, where the hell did that come from? Like,
yep.
Yeah, like you got an instant download of it. Like, you never knew about it before, but you answered the question.
Yeah, that's access to the knowledge data.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just ask. If you don't have a question, just ask, what's this? And they'll send it to you. Yeah.
But that happens quite a few times to me. Like, you answer the question and you look at yourself and think, WTF? Where'd that come from?
Yeah. That happened when I went to the desert. One of the sisters there asked me something in language and I answered her in English, and then I realised that, hang on a minute, I don't speak their language. How did I? It was like I heard what she said in English in my head and I answered it, but she was speaking language.
Yeah.
The language in my mom, I didn't know what she was saying, but I did, and I answered the question, and I caught myself and went, hang on a minute. Someone chucked a translator down there. You got translated? Yeah, that was
yourself to translated somebody else's language and looked at myself like, how the hell did I do that? Like,
how did I know that? Yeah. See, we're more brilliant than what we think. That's what I've been trying to tell people. We're actually more brilliant than what we think. We just haven't given ourselves a chance to realise. So think about that, people. Think about how gifted humans. I don't even like that word, human, because we're different species, but we all got 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head, right? And we look this way. Hairless people. Yeah. So we might leave it for now, bro. We'll come back to our campfire yarns. And
this one.
Yeah, it was just the beginning of a good campfire yarn.
Yeah, good campfire yarn. The only trouble is we didn't boil Billy this time, eh?
No, I might take some footage of me Billy on a fire and put that one up.
Yeah, you got to have a when you have a yarn, eh?
Yeah, you get dry. Yeah, I'll get a different fire with a Billy on it.
Yeah.
My thoughts. I would ask a question to myself.
Yeah,
it would be. Yeah, you've got access. Yeah, Grub's just talking about the downloads. You've got access to the big knowledge files. You can call them whatever you want. Some people call them the Akashic records or whatever. I just call them
to
the knowledge bank, the spiritual knowledge bank. It's there if you can access it.
Yeah, you just with it.
Comes in like telepathy. That's where telepathy just isn't reading people's thoughts. It's part of accessing different things.
Yeah.
Like that. and hearing other things. It's real, people. Our people have been doing it for thousands of years. It's not airy. Like, there is an airy fairy side to it, and I draw the line. And if I see it getting too airy fairy, it's like, hey, bring it back to reality, because there are airy fairy things out there, and I try to avoid them. The reality is we can read each other's thoughts. We are telepathic. We are many things. You just got to cultivate it. Because when you're a kid in this world, straight away they tell you that's just your imagination. That's BS. You read too many comics. You know what I mean? Or you listen to somebody you shouldn't have. And that's not. They squash it straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to squash it out all the time.
Grub says, not humans, man. Well, I've got an issue with that because I'm a woman. And remember that movie where it says, no man can kill me? And the lady goes, but I'm not a man, I'm a woman. And then she kills this guy.
Yes.
Next show we come on, I want to talk about different. Yeah, I want to talk about different people. Different species of man. There is different species of man. They're not going to tell anyone. We're at the stage where if you're different, we're going to war with you. So now is not the time to reveal it to the world.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Sounds like you're washing up.
No, Waddy put the jug on.
Oh, Waddy. G'day, Waddy.
Yeah. Luna said to say hello. Yeah, it's gone really bloody cold up here today there, sis.
Yeah. They won't last long. We'll go back to hot weather in another week or so, and hopefully it'll even out a little bit, I hope.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
We better get going on this.
I'm going to get what?
I said we better get going then.
Yeah, we are.
Because it's 12 o'clock and I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm just going to rave on. We'll save it for another show. We'll talk about our experiences, more about telepathy, past lives.
Yeah, past lives, telepathy, magic.
Gifted beings. Time travel. Because yes, we can time travel. It's just not what you think it is. Like, everyone thinks when you time travel, you actually, we'll talk about that as well. Yeah, all right then. So I hope you enjoyed the fire. I hope you enjoyed our lazy yarn from Luna the Lazy YouTube and my brother Donny and some of the listeners. Until next time, we'll do it again. And basically what we're doing is we'd be on the phone yarning like this, so we thought we'd take it in and put the fire on so you can hear what we say. So, all right, my brother, thanks for the yarn.
No worries there, Steve. And thanks for all the crew that turned up and had a bit of a listen in.
Yeah, thanks everyone that turned up and had a listen. Hope you have a good evening, good day.
Good evening.
Yep, Dad loves you, Mother loves you. And we're wonderful, wonderful beings. So on that note, Yalu.
Yalu, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Yalu, thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah, Yalu.